Welcome back. So now that we know the general idea of what we're trying to do, let's move on to actually doing it. So we were able to pick some of our own measurements for this. So the first thing that we picked was our R, which is the distance from the initial launch of the rocket to where our missile intercept station is set up. I picked that to be 16 miles away, or for all the math I used feet, so that's equivalent to 84,480 feet. Also, we were pick the angle from the launch angle here, and I picked that to be 53 degrees. And we also got to pick the height of where we intercepted, which would be along here, the height that we actually take the missile out. I picked that to be to be 10 miles above the ground. Or that's equivalent to 52,800 feet. So, the first thing that we want to try to do is figure out where we are in the XY plane over here. So, you can use polar coordinates to figure this out. We know that X is equal to R times cosine of the angle, which is 53 degrees, and Y is equal to R sine of the angle. So we know what R is in these cases. So X is equal to 84,480 times cosine of the angle, and Y is equal to the same thing, just times sine of the angle. So, if we wanted to write these in vector coordinates, or write it as a vector, we would say that we are starting right here at this point, 84,480 cosine of 53, and the Y component would be 84,480 sine of 53, and the height, or the Z component, would be 0. And that's because we're still in the XY plane. We're still flat on the ground here, just like they were flat on the ground here. There is no height yet. So we're starting on the ground together. That's where we would start. That's our starting point. Starting point. Okay. Now, ending point. Where are we going to end? Well, what do we know? We know that when we hit the missile right here on the path of the rocket that's flying, that's going to be Z is equal to, well, we said we were going to hit it at 52,800 feet above the ground. So that's surely where we should end. So that's the Z component. Y component. Well, we also know that when we hit right here, when we take the missile out, we know that the path of the rocket that was traveling, it never went in this Y direction here. It was straight up along the x-axis, straight up Z along the x-axis, and then landed here. So y would be 0. Now, the question of the x component. What is this? And we will figure that out in the next video.